you coming 2 nights before the moon turned red. My hands started shaking and the noise inside my head got louder than the thunder, louder than the prayers I used to say. Told me there was someone out there who was meant to die today. I locked the doors, I hid the knives, I tried to stay inside. But the blood moon doesn't knock, it just opens up and steps inside. It finds a rotten part of you that you try to keep asleep, and it wakes it up real slow. Then it tells you who to keep. I heard her moving in the kitchen, didn't even know her name. But the moon already showed me how this night was gonna end the same. I walked in slow with my head hanging low, already knew what I would do. And part of me was screaming, but the other part was smiling too. The blood moon made me kill again. I didn't even put up a fight. It pulled the trigger with my finger while it whispered in the night. I watched the life leave her eyes and I felt something come alive. Like the only time I'm honest is when I'm taking someone's life. The blood moon made me kill again, and I still don't know her name. But I remember how she looked at me right before I took the flame. Now I'm sitting in the dark with blood still on my hands, and the moon is getting fuller. It already knows I'll do it again. I dragged the body to the river while the moon still hung above. Washed the blood off in the water, but it wouldn't come off, my love. The truth is I ain't crying for her, I'm crying for the man I used to be. 'Cause every time the moon turns red, it gets a little harder to see. I don't fight it anymore, I just let the feeling grow. It starts in my chest and it moves down low, like a hunger that don't care about love or sin or wrong or right. It just wants another body and another broken night. I went home and cleaned the gun, I tried to pray it wouldn't come, but the moon was already in the room, and my hands were going numb. I looked in the mirror and I didn't see a man, I saw something else instead. Something that smiles when it hears a heartbeat, slowing down and going dead. The blood moon made me kill again. I didn't even put up a fight. I don't know if it's the devil or if it's just the man I am, but every time the moon turns red, I become exactly what I damn. I've tried to run, I've tried to hide, I've tried to put a bullet in my head, but the blood moon always finds me, and it always wants me fed. I don't even ask for forgiveness anymore, I just ask it to be fast. I don't want to remember how they sound when they're breathing their last. But the moon don't care about mercy, and it don't care about my pain. It just keeps coming back around, and I keep doing it again. The blood moon made me kill again, and this time it felt too easy. I didn't even shake when I did it. I just felt cold and greasy. And now I'm waiting for the next one, 'cause I know it's coming soon. And when that red light hits the sky again, I'll be waiting in the room. I met her behind the church after the last hymn had faded. She was still in that white dress, looking like something sacred had been traded. We didn't talk, we never needed words for what we did. She just pulled me into the dark, like she'd been rehearsing it. Her father's voice was still echoing from inside the building, preaching about sin while I had his daughter pinned against the wall, breathing. She came with her teeth in my neck and her hands pulling me deeper, like she wanted to be ruined by the same hands that would ruin her keeper. I knew this couldn't end clean. I knew one of us would break, but that night I didn't care. I just wanted what I wanted to take. She moaned like she hated herself, and I liked the sound of that, like she already knew this story wouldn't end with her coming back. I fucked the preacher's daughter, then killed her father. Not because I had to, but because something in me wanted to bother the last part of me that still believed there was something left to save. I wanted to see if God would answer when I put him in the grave. I fucked the preacher's daughter, then killed her father. And I didn't feel much when the body hit the ground, just a quiet kind of emptiness, like something had finally been unwound. She found out the next morning when the whole town started to mourn. I watched her from across the street while she cried in the church uniform. She didn't scream, she didn't call the police or fall apart. She just stood there staring at the coffin like she already knew who broke her heart. That same night she came back to the same spot behind the church, still wearing black, still looking like she'd been left in the lurch. She didn't ask why, she didn't ask if I was sorry. She just pulled me in again like she wanted me to finish what I started. She cried while I fucked her, but she didn't tell me to stop. She just held on tighter like she was trying to feel something that wasn't gone. And when it was over, she looked at me with eyes that were already dead and said, "You took everything from me, now take the rest instead." I fucked the preacher's daughter, killed her father. I don't know if I did it for her or for me, or just because I could. Maybe I wanted to see how far I'd go before I finally understood. There's some lines once crossed, don't let you come back the same. That once you pull that trigger, you become the thing you used to blame. I still see her sometimes, standing in the dark behind that church, still wearing that black dress, still looking like she's searching for something I can't give her, something I already took when I emptied that gun into the man who wrote the book. I fucked the preacher's daughter, then killed her father, and I still don't know if I regret it or if I do it all again. Some nights I think about her crying, some nights I just pretend that I'm still a man who can be saved, that I'm not already too far gone. But the truth is I crossed that line, and I don't think I'm coming back home. She told me to close my eyes and not to be afraid. Said she had something to show me that no living man had ever seen. I was drunk and desperate, so I did what she said. And when she opened up, the air around us turned red. It wasn't flesh, it wasn't warm. It was something that breathed on its own. Darkness moving, whispering, pulling me into the unknown. A place that smelled like sulfur, old blood and forgotten sin. And before I could stop myself, I was already crawling in. I should've run, I should've screamed, I should've turned and walked away. But something in that darkness called my name in a voice that sounded like I used to pray. So I pushed in deeper like a man who had already sold his soul. And she just smiled and whispered, "Now you're finally whole." She opened her legs and showed me hell, took me deep inside her where the angels fell. I came inside her like a man who knew he wouldn't leave, and she just held me tighter while I started to believe that this was where I belong. This was where I was meant to be. She opened her legs and showed me hell, and now hell is all I see. It wasn't pain, it was something worse than both. Like my soul was being peeled apart while she watched me choke. She didn't move like a woman, she moved like something ancient and wrong. And every time I tried to pull out, she just pulled me in stronger. I saw things inside her I still can't unsee. Faces of men who came before me, reaching silently. They were begging me to turn around before it was too late. But I was already too deep, already sealing my own fate. She didn't have to force me, she didn't have to lie. She just opened up wide and let me watch myself die. And the deeper I went, the more I started to like the way it burned. Like I was finally home in the place I was always meant to return. She opened her legs and showed me hell. Oh, she opened her legs and showed me hell. Oh, I don't know how long I stayed there. Time doesn't move the same when you're buried inside something that doesn't have a name. She came with a sound like dying stars and breaking bones. And when it was over, she looked at me and said, in a voice like smoke and stones, now you know what's waiting for you when you finally close your eyes. Now you know there's no more running, no more praying, no more lies. She opened her legs and showed me hell, and I still feel it every time I try to sleep. She opened her legs and showed me hell, and now there's nothing left of me to keep. I dug the hole deep on the night. The blood moon was full. She was still screaming when the first shovel of dirt hit the wood. I told myself it had to be done. Told myself she was already gone. But a voice kept coming up through the soil like he was singing me a song. I stayed until the ground went quiet, until I couldn't hear her breathe. Then I walked back home like a man who finally set himself free. But that same night I heard it again, soft, wet, and low, her voice rising from under the floor, like she never let me go. I tried to drink it away, tried to pray, tried to pretend it wasn't real. But every night since then I feel her moving underneath my heel. She doesn't knock on the door, she doesn't need to make a sound. She just waits in the dark until I finally break down. I buried her alive, but she still moans my name. Through 6 feet of dirt, it still sounds the same. I can feel her reaching up when I'm lying in my bed. me down to where the cold and the dead. I buried her alive, but she still comes when I call. And the worst part is I don't even fight it anymore at all. She's rotting in the ground, but she's still warm against my skin. I buried her alive, and now I can't stop letting her in. The first time she came back, I thought I was losing my mind. Something cold and soft slid across my chest in the dead of night. I didn't move, I just laid there while she climbed on top of me. And when she started moving, I felt something inside me break free. She doesn't breathe, she doesn't blink. She just looks at me with those empty eyes. And every time I finish, a little more of me dies. But I still pull her closer, still hold her right in frame. Because the truth is I've never felt more alive than when she moans my name. I've tried to dig her up, I've tried to burn the house down to the frame. But every time I do, she just comes back calling out my name. She's in the wall, she's in the water, she's in the air inside my lungs. And the more I try to hate her, the more I need what she's become. I buried her alive, but she still moans my name. I don't know if she's a ghost or if she's something I created. All I know is when she touches me, I feel both loved and hated. I hate that I still want her, hate that I still get hard, hate that I'd rather fuck the dead than live without her in my arms. I put her in the ground because I couldn't stand to let her go. Now she owns what's left of me, and she won't ever let me know if I'm still alive or if I died the night I buried her deep, deep, deep. All I know is when she moans my name, I still go to sleep. I buried her alive, but she still moans my name. And I don't even try to stop it. I don't feel any shame. She's cold and she's decaying, but she's the only thing that's real. I buried her alive, and now she's all I'll ever feel. She already owned the air I breathe. Black eyes, slow smile, and a hunger underneath. I knew right then I should have turned around and walked away. But something in the way she moved made me wanna stay. She didn't ask my name, didn't care about my sins. She just looked at me like she knew how this night would end. I bought her a drink, but she never touched the glass. She leaned in close and said, you won't be leaving here the same as you came in, baby. I should've run, I should've fought, I should've turned and left that place. But my body moved before my mind could catch up with the pace. She took my hand and led me out into the blood-red night. And I followed like a man who already gave up the fight. She rode me straight to hell with her hands around my throat. Took my breath, took my soul, while she never even spoke. I came inside her like a man who knew he wouldn't last. And she smiled when I finished, like she'd done this in the past. She rolled me straight to hell and I didn't even try to leave. I let her take whatever she wanted, I let her take all of me. Now I'm cold and I'm empty, and I'm buried in her skin. She rode me straight to hell, and I'm still dying from within. She moved like she was starving, like she hadn't touched a man in years. And every time I pushed in, I felt something disappear. Her body was cold at first, then it started burning hot, like she was pulling life out of me with everything she got. I tried to pull away when I felt my chest get tight, but she locked her legs around me and held me through the night. She whispered in my ear with a voice that wasn't hers. You wanted this, remember? Now you're gonna stay with me forever. I felt my heartbeat slowing down, I felt my vision start to fade, but I still kept moving like a man who was already made. She kissed me when I came, and I swear I tasted death. But I didn't stop, I couldn't stop, I had nothing left. She rolled me straight to hell with her hands around my throat. I saw the light behind her eyes go out and something else move in. I felt my life get smaller with every single rise and fall of her hips. She didn't even have to say it, I already understood that this was how it ended, not with fire, but with blood. And when she finally came, she didn't make a sound. She just looked at me and smiled as I slowly sank down. I tried to say I'm sorry, tried to say I changed my mind, but she put a finger on my lips and whispered, too late, you're already mine. She rolled me straight to hell and I never even tried to run. I gave her everything I had until there was nothing left to give her. Now I'm cold and I'm empty, and I'm buried in the skin. She rolled me straight to hell, and I'm still fucking dying from within. has pale skin and eyes that already knew everything I'd done below. I should've kept walking, should've turned around and run, but something in the way she stood made me stop and come undone. She didn't speak at first, she just looked at me like I was already hers, like she'd been waiting a long time for this moment to occur. I asked her who she was, and she smiled like she'd heard that line before. Then she said, "You already know, baby, you've been calling me for years." I felt my heart slow down the second she touched my face, like she was already deciding how much time I had left to waste. I knew what she was, but I didn't walk away, because part of me had been waiting for this too, in its own sick way. I fucked death herself on the side of a road under a bleeding moon. She took me deep and cold, and I still didn't leave the room. I came inside her like a man who knew he wouldn't last, and she smiled when I finished, like she'd done this in the past. I fucked death herself, and I didn't even try to fight. I let her take whatever she wanted on that long and final night. Now I'm cold, and I'm empty, and I'm buried in her skin. I fucked death herself, and I'm still dying from within. She moved like she was starving, like she hadn't touched a man in years. Every time I pushed in, I felt something disappear. Her body was cold at first, then it started burning hot, like she was pulling life out of me with everything she got. I tried to pull away when I felt my chest get tight, but she locked her legs around me and held me through the night. She whispered in my ear with a voice that wasn't hers, "You wanted this, remember? Now you're gonna stay with me forever." I felt my heartbeat slowing down, I felt my vision start to fade, but I still kept moving like a man who was already made. She kissed me when I came, and I swear I tasted death, but I didn't stop, I couldn't stop, I had nothing left. I fucked death herself on the side of a road under a bleeding moon. I saw the light behind her eyes go out and something else move in. I felt my life get smaller with every single rise and fall of her hips. She didn't even have to say it, I already understood that this was how it ended, not with fire, but with blood. And when she finally came, she didn't make a sound. She just looked at me and smiled as I slowly sank down. I tried to say I'm sorry, tried to say I changed my mind, but she put her finger on my lips and whispered, "Too late, you're already mine." I fucked death herself, and I never even tried to run. I gave her everything I had until there was nothing left to give her. Now I'm cold, and I'm empty, and I'm buried in her skin. I fucked death herself, and I'm I'm still fucking dying from within. And I'm still fucking dying from within. I buried her deep where the trees grow thick and the ground stays cold. Shoveled dirt until my hands bled, until I couldn't feel my soul. I told myself it was over, told myself that she was gone, that the secret would stay buried with her until I was dead and long gone. But the next morning they were already there, black wings against the sky, dozens of them sitting in the trees, watching me with knowing eyes. They didn't make a sound at first, they just stared like they were waiting, like they already knew what I had done and were simply calculating. I tried to scare them off through rocks and cursed their names, but they just flew a little higher and came right back the same. Every day since then they've been with me, following me around, sitting on power lines, on rooftops, on the hood of my truck. When I'm driving through town, the crows know what I did to her. They saw it with their own black eyes. They watched me dig the hole, they watched me cover up her cries. They know where she's buried, they know what I used to make her still. And every time I look up, they're reminding me that they always will. The crows know what I did to her, and they're never gonna let me forget. They're sitting on my shoulder now, whispering that I'm in their debt. I can't outrun them, I can't hide, I can't make them go away. The crows know what I did to her, and they're waiting for the day. I wake up every morning and they're already outside my door. Hundreds of them covering the trees like a black and living sore. I go to work, I go to town, I try to live like nothing's wrong, but they're always there watching, like they're keeping score of how long. I've started talking to them sometimes when I'm drunk and alone, telling them I'm sorry, telling them I didn't mean to take her home. That night I lost control, that night I crossed a line I can't uncross, but they just tilt their heads and stare like they already knew the cost. I thought about ending it, putting a bullet in my head, but I know they'd still be there, sitting on my grave when I'm dead. They don't care about my guilt, they don't care if I repent, they just want me to remember what I did and what it meant. The crows know what I did to her, they saw it with their own black eyes. Oh. Sometimes I wonder if they're waiting for me to do it again, if they're keeping count of every woman I look at, every time I pretend that I'm still a man who can be trusted, that I'm still in control. But the truth is I'm just waiting for the day they finally take my soul. They don't need to say a word, they don't need to make a sound. They just keep circling above me, slowly bringing me down. And I know when my time comes, they'll be the last thing that I see. Hundreds of black eyes watching as they finally come for me. The crows know what I did to her, and they're never gonna let me forget. They're sitting on my shoulder now, collecting on the dead. I can't outrun them, I can't hide, I can't make them go away. The crows know what I did to her, and they're waiting for the day. Met him on a night when even the moon looked tired of shining. I had nothing left but a gun, a bottle, and a name that was already dying. He didn't come with smoke and fire like the stories always say. He just sat down beside me and asked if I was ready to pay. I told him I was tired of being small, tired of losing every fight, tired of watching better men take everything that should have been mine by right. He smiled like he already knew the answer before I spoke. Then he said, I can give you all of that, but you won't like the way it's wrote. I signed it that night with blood from my own wrist. I thought I was buying freedom, but I was buying a fist around my throat that would only get tighter with time. He took my soul with a handshake, then looked at me and said with a voice like a dying fire, that was just the down payment. I'll be coming back for the rest of what's mine. I sold my soul, but the devil wanted my blood too. He took the part of me that made me human, then came back for what was left to use. I gave him everything I had, but it still wasn't enough. Now he's inside my veins, drinking slow like he's got all the time in the world to take what's left of me. I sold my soul, but the devil wanted my blood too. And he's not in any hurry to finish what he started. At first it felt like winning, the money came easy, the women came fast. I walked like a king for the first time in my life, like nothing could touch me at last. But then the headache started and the shadows started moving when I wasn't looking. And every time I cut myself shaving, the blood took longer to stop running. He started showing up in my sleep, standing at the end of my bed, not saying a word, he was already counting the dead. I tried to drink him out, tried to fuck him out, tried to pray him out of my chest, but he was already in my blood by then, moving quiet like the rest. I've tried to run, I've tried to hide, I've tried to put a bullet in my own head, but he's already inside me now, living in the places I used to call dead. Every time I look in the mirror, I see less of the man I used to be, and more something else looking back at me. I sold my soul, but the devil wanted my blood too. I thought I was making a deal, but I was just giving him permission to take whatever he wanted, however he wanted, without condition. Now I'm sitting here with scars on my arms from where I tried to bleed him out, but the blood keeps coming back darker, and so does his voice when I shout. He doesn't even have to speak anymore, I already know what he wants. He wants what's still moving, what's still warm, what still responds. And I don't know how much longer I can keep giving him pieces of me, before there's nothing left but a shell and a name that nobody will read. I sold my soul, but the devil wanted my blood too, and now he's taking it slow, like he's got nothing else to do. I can feel him in my veins, I can feel him in my chest. I sold my soul, but the devil wanted my blood too, and he's not finished with me yet. They gave me one last night before they put the rope around my neck. One last night to sit in this cell and reckon with everything I wrecked. The sheriff said I could have whatever I wanted, whiskey, a woman, or a smoke, but I told him I didn't need company to face what I'd become. I got blood on my hands that won't come off, no matter how hard I scrub, and a list of names in my head longer than any prayer or holy book. I used to think I had reasons, used to think I was different from the rest, but sitting here tonight I see I was just another man who couldn't outrun his own mess. The moon is full and bleeding red outside these iron bars, like it already knows what's coming, and it's not even surprised by the scars. I've spent my whole life running, fighting, taking what wasn't mine to take, and now I've got one night left to sit with every choice I ever made. This is the last night before they hang me, the last night I'll ever see, the last night I get to breathe without a rope tightening around me. I don't know if I'm scared or just tired, don't know if I regret it all, but I know when the sun comes up, they're gonna walk me down that hall. This is the last night before they hang me, and I don't have much that I lived the way I wanted, even if it led me here today. I asked them for a bottle, and they brought me one without a word. I've been drinking slow, trying to remember every face I've ever heard. Some of them deserved it, some of them didn't, but that don't change a thing, because dead is dead, and I'm the one who chose to pull the string. I thought about asking for a woman, just to feel something warm one last time, but I figured it wouldn't be fair to leave that weight on someone else's mind. So I'm sitting here alone with my memories and this bottle in my hand, trying to make peace with the man I was before they came and took my land. The priest came by earlier, tried to save what's left of my soul. I told him it was too late for that, told him to go and save someone whole. I made my peace with the devil, made my peace with the fact that when they drop me tomorrow, there won't be no coming back. This is the last night before they hang me, the last night I'll ever see. I've been thinking about the roads I could have taken, the man I could have been, but every time I try to rewrite it, the ending still comes out the same again. I was never built for a quiet life, never built for a home and a wife. I was built for running and bleeding and dying with a gun in my hand and fire in my life. And maybe that's alright, maybe that's just how it was always gonna end. Some men are born to hang, and I guess I was one of them. I don't need forgiveness, and I don't need to be saved. I just need these last few hours to remember what I gave. This is the last night before they hang me, and I'm not asking for more time. I've already taken enough from this world, and I've already paid for my crimes. When they come for me tomorrow, I'll walk out there with my head held high, because I live the way I wanted, even if it meant I had to die. I was quiet in a way that felt like it was waiting. I had blood on my hands and no more reasons for staying. So I walked out where the road ends and the dark begins to breathe, and I offered up the last thing that still belonged to me. I didn't ask for power, didn't beg to live without fear. I just wanted to stop feeling like I was always disappearing. I wanted to take without mercy, wanted to fuck without consequence. I wanted to ruin something beautiful and walk away innocent. Something answered from the silence with a hunger I could feel. It didn't speak in words, it just showed me what was real. I felt it settle in my chest like a weight I couldn't name. And I knew I had already lost before I even came. I made a deal in the dark, and it took everything from me. Took the man I used to be and left this hollow thing. I can still feel her inside me, like a sickness in my blood. Every time I try to breathe, she tightens up the rope. I made a deal in the dark, and now I can't get clean. She's under my skin, in my mouth, and the places I can't see. I keep trying to tear her out, but she only sinks in deeper. 'Cause everything I wanted, I paid for with the rest of me. She came to me that night like she already owned my name. Eyes like wet stone and a body that moved like it had no shame. I took her on the floor like I was trying to disappear inside. But every time I pushed in, something in me died. She held my face with both hands while I moved like a man possessed. Told me I could have a body, but I'd never get to rest. I came inside her like I was trying to put out a fire with gasoline. And when it was over, she smiled and said, "Now you'll never be alone again." Now the days don't feel like mine, and the nights don't ever break. I keep looking in the mirror, but I can't find my own face. She doesn't even have to touch me anymore to make me ache. I still feel her when I'm sober, I still feel her when I break. I made a deal in the dark, and it took everything from me. I tried to hate her, tried to kill her, tried to fuck her out of my head. But the more I used her body, the more she used what's left of me instead. I hate that I still want it, hate that I still get hard when she calls. Hate that I crawled back to her even if I knew how far I'd fall. I sold the part of me that used to know the difference between sin and need. Now I'm just a body moving through a life I didn't agree to lead. And when she opens up for me in that voice that sounds like my own, I still go to her like a man who has already let himself go. I made a deal in the dark, and it took everything from me. Took my name, took my future, took the man I used to be. I can still taste her when I speak, I can still feel her when I bleed. And I know when they bury me, she'll be the last thing I see. I made a deal in the dark, and the worst part is I'd still do it again. this cheap motel with the lights turned low, gun on the table, hand on my dick, not sure which one's gonna blow. The silence is loud, but the noise in my head is louder still, telling me to go out and find something I can break or kill. I got blood under my nails from a week I can't explain, and a hunger in my chest that feels more like pain. I don't know if I wanna fuck or if I wanna watch something die. All I know is both of them quiet the voice when it starts to cry. I've tried to drink it quiet, tried to fuck it out of me, but the more I feed it, the more it wants to be free. There's a part of me that's rotten and it's been growing for years, and tonight it's pressing against the zipper, whispering in my ears. My gun is loaded, and so is my cock. One of them's gonna finish what the other one started. I don't know which one's more honest, I don't know which one I trust, but they're both pointed at the world and they're both ready to bust. My gun is loaded, and so is my cock, and I'll stop pretending that I'm still in control. One of them's gonna go off before this night is through, and I don't really care which one, as long as something gets used. I walked into a bar I didn't belong in, looking for a fight or a face. She caught my eye from the corner like she already knew my pace. We didn't talk much, we didn't need to waste a breath. She followed me out back like she wanted to meet death. I pushed her against the wall with one hand on her throat, the other one still thinking about the gun in my coat. She moaned when I fucked her, but I barely heard the sound, because part of me was already somewhere else, pulling the trigger in my mind. Even while I was inside her, even while she said my name, I kept seeing flashes of blood and fire and flame, like my body was here, but my head was already gone, doing something I couldn't take back once the moment moved on. My gun is loaded, and so is my cock. Oh, broken in me, and I don't think I wanna know. Some nights I think I'm a monster, some nights I just let it show. I've killed for less than this feeling, I've fucked for even less, and the truth is I like the power, I like the emptiness. I like knowing that with one decision I can end a life or make one shake, and I don't know which one makes me feel more awake. I've stopped asking for forgiveness, I've stopped trying to be saved. I just load both of them up and walk into the night like a man who's already been paid. My gun is loaded, and so is my cock, and I don't know which one's gonna be the end of me. I just know that when it happens I probably won't resist. I'll just close my eyes and let it happen like it was always meant to be. My gun is loaded, and so is my finally gonna finish what it started. I was tired of waking up with a voice still in my throat. Tired of feeling her hands on me, even when I was alone. So I went looking for her in the dark where she liked to hide. I told myself this time I'd be the one who decided how she died. She was waiting like she always did, smiling like she already knew that I come crawling back no matter what I said I wouldn't do. I grabbed her by the throat and pushed her down into the dirt. Told her tonight I was done being the one getting hurt. I thought I could break her, I thought I could make her big. Thought if I was rough enough, she'd finally stop living in my head. But the second I was inside her, the air around us changed. Her eyes went black, her smile got wide, and everything rearranged. I tried to rape the curse, but it raped me back. Took my body, took my mind, and left me on my back. I came inside her like a man who thought he still had control, but she just laughed and pulled me deeper while she swallowed up my soul. I tried to rape the curse, but it raped me back. Now I'm the one who's shaking, now I'm the one who can't fight back. She's in my veins, she's in my mouth, she's in the way I breathe. I tried to rape the curse, and now the curse is raping me. She didn't even have to move, she just laid there and let me do it. But every time I pushed in, I felt something else push through it, like she was opening doors inside me I didn't know were there. And every door she opened, something darker walked in and stayed. I tried to pull out, but she locked her legs and held me tight. Whispered, "You wanted this, baby, now you're gonna stay the night." I came again and again until I had nothing left to give, and she just smiled and said, "Now you know what it feels like to live inside the curse instead of fighting it." I woke up the next morning with blood on my hands and her voice in my ear, telling me to do things I used to be too scared to even hear. I don't fight it anymore, I don't even try to run, because every time I do, she just makes it hurt more when it's done. Tried to rape the curse, but it raped me back. I used to think I was the hunter, now I know I'm just the meat. She let me think I had power just to watch me fall apart at her feet. I tried to break her, tried to own her, tried to fuck her out of me, but she turned it all around, and now she's the one who's fucking me. And the worst part is, I don't even want her to stop anymore. I just want her to keep going till there's nothing left worth fighting for. I tried to rake the curse, but it raked me back, and now I don't know where I end and where she starts to attack. She's in my blood, she's in my bones, she's in the way I think. I tried to rake the curse, and now the curse is all I am.